This is the big one, isn't it? United versus Liverpool. And Liverpool have had very, very indifferent and inconsistent form this season, which we've all enjoyed, I'm sure, unless you're from that little corner of Merseyside. But their recent form, albeit with a couple of subpar results, has been actually pretty solid, and certainly more solid than it's been on average across the course of the season. They have only lost one league game at home this season. That was a 2-1 defeat to Leeds, meaning that Anfield still is not an easy place to go and get a result. Obviously, there's certain players doing things, and Trent is a big one of those. He's had a massive fall from grace. He's only got 2 league assists this season compared to his 12 last season. And where his attacking output hasn't been anywhere near as good as it has previously, those defensive frailties which have always been there are now getting highlighted in a big way, and maybe even exacerbated by the fact that he appears to be walking and gives up so quickly. I would love to see Marcus running at him this weekend and see if we could force the same sort of thing as well, because he is a weakness for them defensively. Salah is having a bit of a somber season following the contract extension, and I think I said towards the end of the season last year that I would consider them a very serious club if they shook Mo Salah's hand, said thank you for all of the goals, but we're going to go with a younger model, because to me that would show a ruthlessness that would scare me. Now, fortunately, they didn't do that. They've renewed him, and it's the contract curse, and let's hope we don't see that ourselves with Marcus. You get a nice, shiny new contract, and I don't think the player potentially relaxes, but there's clearly something happens because the performances following a contract inevitably drop off, and Mo Salah's has dropped off. But he does have a ridiculous record against Manchester United. He is Liverpool's all-time highest scorer against United in all competitions with 10 goals, and 9 of those have come in the last 5 appearances against us. So he scored in every single match in that run. Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 6 home games against United. They've got 3 wins, 3 draws since the 1-0 loss in January 2016. It is their longest run without defeat against us at Anfield since a run of 9 between 1970 and 1979. United have completed the Premier League double over Liverpool more than any other side with 8, which is impressive, and are looking to do so for the first time since that 2015-16 season with the 1-0 win that we were talking about there at Anfield, but also Anthony Martial's debut at Old Trafford. We have scored just 1 goal in our last 7 away games at Liverpool in all competitions, failing to score in each of the last 3. The bar's low. Don't have to be good to get better than what we've had there in recent years. Rashford and Sancho were on the score sheet when we beat them 2-1 at Old Trafford in August. The last English player to score home and away league goals against them for United in a single season was Tommy Taylor, all the way back in 53-54. We know how they play. And Klopp has been heavily criticised recently for his inability to tactically adjust, and his stubbornness in that sense has become just a little bit more obvious, and he's actually become a tiny bit more pragmatic in recent weeks. But with their form picking up and an Anfield crowd, I imagine they're going to revert back to type. 4-3-3 can be very expansive from that formation, and Liverpool do take it to the extreme. Trent and Andy Robertson play so high up, they act as auxiliary wingers, providing the width for the team. And often in a formation like this, you'll see one fullback bomb forward, fullback on the opposite side sits and covers, but not Liverpool. Where one goes, they both go, and they support attacks simultaneously. And unfortunately for them, it makes them vulnerable on the transition, and they have been so vulnerable on the transition. Previously, their counter press, the gegenpress, the thing that Klopp was kind of known for, was excellent. And a lot of that was down to the sort of tenacity of the midfield, and that's not there. This season, we're seeing fullbacks provide the width. Gakpo drops deeper into a little bit of a false 9 and allows the wingers to sort of vacate the wings, which is where Trent and Robertson sort of raid down in between, and that allows wide players to make inverted runs in between the centre half and fullbacks. That's where you see Mo Salah playing most of his best work. And then they get numbers in and around the penalty box. Núñez has been very dangerous doing this off the left-hand side. His shooting has been erratic this season. He's took a hell of a lot of shots, but he's starting to convert them into goals at the moment. So I think he'll be dangerous. Liverpool play an extreme high line, relying on Van Dijk to cover defensively for them. And and whoever it is that they usually partner alongside him, they have a whole host of centre halves that they can partner alongside him, and they rely on catching teams offside, and it's very risky for them. With VAR, it's less risky because the correct decision does get called, but it's a risky thing to call because if the run is timed right, VAR is going to cook you. So that's a vulnerability for them and something Marcus Rashford will be looking to exploit and has got the pace to absolutely tear them to pieces. And even though they back themselves doing this, because it's what they do week in, week out, you can still find teams that will hurt them on that transition and get him in behind them time and time again. And Marcus is the man to do that. They operate, at least on paper, they operate with a counter-pressing system where they press high and in numbers immediately after losing the ball. They try and swarm you to win it back in dangerous areas. But this season, that's been dysfunctional, and that is the result, or that is what has resulted in their form being as ordinary as it has been. And they've been getting exposed by bypassing that initial press, and United are quite good at that, playing off that sort of thing this season. I would certainly expect Mo Salah to be the most threatening. He's obviously someone who likes scoring against United. World-class finisher, doesn't even have to be in the game. Just have to get him just inside the box and watch him score. Very low centre of gravity, unbelievable dribbling, very difficult to dispossess, and always ranks highly for dribbling past people. Very, very intelligent with his movement, absolutely lightning quick, and constantly threatens when a team's going forward because he is one of the players that is allowed to cheat upfield. And I've seen some people asking, what do you mean by cheating? In a workman-like team, every man needs to get behind the ball, maybe outside the striker. So you're looking at 10 players behind the ball, 9 players behind the ball, in a nice rigid shape to sort of facilitate defensive action, whereas some teams might allow one player to cheat. Paris Saint-Germain allow 3 players to cheat because they ain't doing that work. So you've got a little bit of a problem there if you're Paris. But Mo Salah is one of the ones that is allowed to cheat. Marcus cheats for United. It's not that there's a refusal to track back. It's that the payoff is if we can counter and he's in a good position and he's high up the pitch because he's cheating, and he's not defending like everybody else, then he's more prepared, more capable, more able to get a good chance off because he's high up the pitch and because he's in a good position. So that's what cheating is when people have asked what they mean by cheating. And Mo Salah doesn't even need half a yard. Sometimes a quarter of a yard is enough for him. And he's not gun shy. He will shoot when he sees the net at his mercy. So you got to be wary about him getting on the inside of Luke Shaw. But I'm pretty confident that Luke Shaw and Martinez can lock him down. Match winner for United. It's Marcus Rashford, isn't it? Of course it is. Motivated, primed Marcus Rashford, scored plenty of goals against Liverpool and has had tons of joy running in, behind and off Trent. And if Liverpool has a weakness, it's Trent. It is Trent 10 times out of Trent. And the other weakness at the moment seems to be that their midfield just doesn't have the same sort of work rate as it previously has. They're solid in attack. I think they'll score goals. I don't think there's a clean sheet in this game for either side. But there are instances where he was almost got him behind a few times against Liverpool early in the season. Trent was struggling with Elanga, chasing shadows with Elanga. Rashford is a whole different proposition, and I would go with Rashford probably. We'll talk about my team in a minute, but even if he goes with Rashford off the left and brings Garnacho on for the last 30, unlucky. If he goes with a sort of different lineup, it's still unlucky. You're still not going to have a good day of it. But since the start of the 17-18 season, no player has scored more against Liverpool in all competitions than Marcus Rashford. He's on 6, which is level with Harry Kane. All 6 of his goals against Liverpool, though, have come at Old Trafford. So scoring against them at Anfield will be massive. He scored 10 goals in his last 10 Premier League games. He scored in each of his last 5 appearances. Only 3 different United players have scored in 6 in a row, and that's Ruud van Nistelrooy. He did it 3 times. Cantona and Cristiano Ronaldo. We won the league each time someone's done that. Just saying. With him being our quickest forward and Liverpool playing the high line that they always do, if you've got any chance of beating him, you're just looking at Marcus. Starting 11 for United, De Gea in net. I go with Wan-Bissaka to have a little bit more defensive pace for one and stability for another. Varane and Martinez, because it's Varane and Martinez and Luke Shaw at left back. I go, this is a big decision on how to line up in midfield, but I go with Casemiro, Sabitzer, Fred in the 10, Bruno on the right, Sancho on the left, and Marcus down the middle. But I would not be surprised to see Bruno on the left, Anthony on the right, Marcus down the middle. Or potentially even Fred off the left. Any combination of that, I think. Because I think Anthony's playing in some decent form and I think he fancies his chances. And the balance that he gives us off that side is pretty good and pretty needed. Which means you've got Sancho, Weghorst and Garnacho all to come off the bench. And I like that. I like that a lot. And how do you beat them? Speed and pace up front. Marcus Rashford. And then a tired Garnacho to come on and get a winner after the game. But that's it. The threat of pace in behind them is going to result in Trent and Robertson being far less effective. And that's why you want a bit of balance, because Anthony can then hold Robertson back while Marcus is holding Trent back. Running behind. Look for balls over the top. Casemiro, if Casemiro turns up, he has the game of his life. And it's over. And I did ask him, as he was leaving, I said to him, 3 points Sunday. No idea if you understand what I was saying. And you have to weather the storm. Liverpool start fast, they start aggressive. Every single game starts a million mile an hour with them, and a lot of their goals come early, so you have to be ready for that lightning fast start, especially at Anfield. Once you get past that initial stage, they sort of settle it down, go into a bit of a rhythm and try and lull you in a slow build-up, and that's when they are vulnerable. So if you can ride that bull initially, tire it out, then hit them with some counters, you can beat them. We've seen teams do it. It doesn't happen very often, but I think it can happen. It can certainly happen with this United team. This United team seems to find a way, and it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty, but it finds a way, and it's showing ways of playing multiple different styles of football, and that is dangerous. Let me know in the comments, how do you see it going? Who's going to be the match winner? All that sort of good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.